Ah, yes.
Ooh, that was a big,
Yes.
because I have been sitting in this chair.
Welcome to the Destination Workplace Show, a podcast that inspires CEOs, real estate, workplace, and HR leaders to create meaningful and purposeful employee experiences inside and outside of the office. My name is Nelly Hyatt, and I'm a work futurist. And I'm sitting down with leaders to talk about the future of the workplace, their vision and ambition for the next generation of employees, and how to have an impact.
Long-standing corporate background of things before real estate, fell into real estate at Credit Suisse, then did that as a consultant at JLL for a few years, and then started and grew the workplace strategy practice at WeWork until the end.
I'm so happy that you are with us. There's no end to that journey. Do you feel that there's still this love-hate relationship between companies and co-working spaces providers?
There is definitely room for opportunity in changing the relationship that is there, let's say, right? Like historically, most call it normal occupier types are going to serviced offices for things that are transactional. And they've been sold on like, yeah, you can come for not that long and get here really fast, and we can deal with lots of requirements around the world, especially if you're big, the Regis, IWG, or WeWork, and the likes. But they're, they don't view those, or it is rare to view those offices as like a real strategic decision. It was more common for smaller tech companies, I think, to say, listen, like this is our strategy, and actually we are going so fast that we can't possibly we couldn't deliver the kind of experience that we want to be able to deliver. So we are willing to outsource some of that experience to a serviced office if they are truly a community-based site and experiential focused, which WeWork 100% was, whereas like Regis by and large wasn't historically. And lots of other players, Convenient Industrious and Serendipity Labs and all them, like they all get it fundamentally. And if the client is willing to say, like, you are going to be my office truly, and I'm not going to think of you as something off on the side,
yeah,
there can be really great synergies. But that is a terrifying proposition for the corporate real estate team to like let the leash out a little bit in terms of control and finding their new identity in that moment when they're not making every single spatial decision on behalf of the organization, like as it happens.
The control was hard to give because at the same time we had so much ambition for our spaces. We used to think that when people would enter the Pinterest office, suddenly they'll be so hooked. I'm a Pinterest employee. That's all that I want to be. That's the entire identity. So I think that was because of that ambition we had around the space and the influence on people. It was hard to let go to other providers. However, the question today is no longer a question we can just put on the side. Like people are giving the choice to work anywhere, at home, in the office, and anywhere in between, in co-working spaces, in coffee shops. So now this is why I said the love-hate relationship. How do we go from like maybe hate to love? And what does it mean for head of real estate to decide, okay, what are the things I want to remain in control of because it influences the engagement to our culture, our company's values, and what are the things I can let go? Also, I think we should remember what I can use as an inspiration from co-working space providers. Because I think that's something you mentioned during one of our conversations. You would invite corporations to come into WeWork and they'd be like, wow, is that an office?
Yeah. What am I feeling here right now is always the response. I think the key for corporate real estate is not to lose control entirely, but with so much that is uncertain, the way of being an engaging internal partner, say, look, I'll let the leash out and kind of let you run a bit, and then I can follow the demand.
Yes. I love it. That is power.
Yeah, but like follow the people and then build the road. In these cases, if you are willing to give employees access to different platforms that provide access to space in different ways, you will find out who your users are. Back at WeWork, like one of the early success stories with enterprise was Microsoft giving all the access passes, right? To say like, okay, here's your WeWork access card, and you can now walk into any building that you want in all of New York City. Go. And after a couple months, realizing that given all the freedom, their 200 or 300 salespeople, whatever it was, were gravitating towards very specific WeWork locations. Not because anybody told them to. And I honestly have absolutely no idea why those were their favorites. It could have been that's where like the clients were, or that's where the people lived, or they just liked the building. No idea. But then Microsoft was smart to follow the on-demand users with smaller permanent space. This is a responsive real estate portfolio now. It is not a draconian, old way, slow-moving, authoritarian portfolio.
I love the responsive real estate vision. I feel this is so inspiring. I think we've heard a lot about an agile portfolio, which always sounds unrealistic. We know landlords and negotiating leases take more time than the agility would want to, but the responsive sounds first realistic and more practical and also more compassionate. If we leverage co-working spaces, we can get data, which is beautiful. We can get the data on like who's booking what, who is where, how many are where, are they congratulated, and when we have this data, then we can decide, as you said, and that's where we should move toward love relationship with co-working space. Like when you give me data, we can create something together. I can decide that in this small spurs, like smaller location where it's only a few of my employees are going, I'm okay to give you control, because I also know that you're good at building community. Like, so there's also this trusting relationship because I know you're pretty good at it. So I know you'll cherish my employees. And in some places where more people are meeting, is there value for me to create a specific environment for them?
Yeah, and that has to, like on the data point, right? If while at WeWork, I would say like we have more data than you. So if you know, I mean, which is a selling point, but from the occupier side, like that's a shame. You should also not have to outsource.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be looking at flexible office space as a way of getting data, like, because that's a sign that you don't have it internally.
I love it. And that's probably where we're going to finish off. Thank you so much, Phil, again.
Oh, my pleasure.
For your time. It was a pleasure.